Welcome to the Junk Drawer Mamas with your hosts Dina Tricino and Christina Queen. We are so glad you're here with us as we sort through the drama and the trauma of life's hidden struggles to uncover hope and healing with a side of humor on this roller coaster ride we like to call extreme parenting. Whether you're raising a child or a teen with special needs, dealing with challenging behaviors, tackling addiction, mental health issues, or working through the trauma associated with foster care, it's a lot, and we get it. But you don't have to do this alone. So grab a cozy chair, settle in, and let's take this journey together.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Junk Drawer Mamas podcast. We are on episode 20, but we are actually going to do a special episode. We had talked to you guys last week about doing a part 2 on our episode of fear. We were talking about the fears that special needs moms face and the unknown futures and things like that. And we are going to bring that back to you. But we wanted to kind of honor moms with this episode, and because we just got off of Mother's Day. And we just really wanted to talk about what to do when our Mother's Day does not look like a Hallmark card. So a lot of times in the world of extreme parenting, behavioral issues, whatever it is that you're walking through as a special needs mom, our lives look different. And so we wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that and, just shared a little bit of our own stories, but try to really create a new way of looking at the situation. And we really just want to honor moms. Because I think that even though we might be walking through a situation where we're not, I want to say honored the way we would think we should be, we as moms can support each other. Yeah. Because we understand each other. We get each other. We don't need anyone else to get it. God understands us and we get it. So that's the most important thing. If you have a supportive community around you and you have the God of the universe that you're partnering with, I don't want to say it doesn't matter because I do think it matters, but I think that it can help to heal some of our hearts when you feel like you've been unseen and not appreciated. And so I just kind of wanted to start off with that, because in the world of social media, now maybe this wouldn't have been that way years ago, but now we're in the world of social media. So I'm a part of a lot of Facebook groups. I'm sure you are too, Christina. And so my heart really broke when I saw a lot of posts about moms that were not celebrated on Mother's Day. Or maybe you're a single mom and you don't have somebody taking your kids to go get something. I'm a homeschooling mom, so my child doesn't go to school and bring home the crafts and the cards and the things that kids make in school. I don't know if you ever experienced that, where the kids come home with all the crafts and things that they make in school for the holidays. I don't get that because I've homeschooled my kids. All of my kids were homeschooled except our oldest daughter. So, unless Gracie makes something with my mom, she'll make crafts with grandma. That's where I'll get that. So sometimes you don't have that. Maybe you have a child that can't do that for you, whether that is a child that's young at home, or maybe you have an adult child that just is not in a space in their own mental health or whatever to be able to acknowledge you. Maybe there's pain in the relationship. Maybe there's trauma that you've walked through. So anyway, we just kind of want to talk about that a little bit. And, what is this holiday? What was it meant for? And how can we change the narrative around that? So before I continue to go on and on, is there anything that you want to share, Christina?
Well, what did you do for Mother's Day? We didn't really get to talk about that. I'll tell a quick summary of what I did for Mother's Day. What did your Mother's Day actually look like? What did you do?
So for my Mother's Day, so Gracie, because she's, doesn't know how to keep a secret, the night before, she's like, I have a gift for you. And so I knew that, we were going to be celebrating something. I didn't know what it was. But anyway, I woke her up in the morning for church and she didn't want to get up. And I said, it's Mother's Day. And she goes, oh yeah. So she jumps out of bed, and then her and my husband go get the gift. So she had got me flowers and this like adult coloring book, the kind that has all the really intricate designs that you got to color with like a colored pencil or whatever. So I got that and some cards, and she was very excited. And then we got ready for church, and then we spent the day with my son took me out to lunch, and then we went and hung out with my mom and did games, and then afterwards we all went to dinner. So I had a very good Mother's Day this year. Now, it's not always been like that, which I'll share a little bit, but this was a very good Mother's Day. It was nice, kind of relaxed and calm, and nothing real big, just a very nice, relaxing day.
Yeah. So normally we would do church too. That's always a priority every week. But it seems like lately we have really missed a lot more than what we care for, because just the kiddos bringing stuff home from school, getting sick, and so about a week or so ago, the baby had strep. Then it's just kind of trickles down, and with there being this many kids in the house, it kind of takes its time. So anyways, so the night before Mother's Day, I threw up along with a kid or two, and then we knew we couldn't go to church and put kids in class with them being sick and make anybody else's kiddos sick. So we're like, man, this is a bummer. So I was just like, well, maybe I'll just relax and not do anything today. But the weather was so nice here in Ohio, so I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind going fishing. That's like one of my favorite things to do. I'm not like good at it. Like, I don't catch these big giant fish. I just love to sit out there and fish. We had 12 of our kids with us. It was nice, but one of the kids got sick there while we were there, having to break up several fights. Kids were keep reapplying sunblock because we had kids getting
moms had
toasty
to break up
red.
fights on Mother's Day.
Yeah, right. But overall, nobody caught any fish except for me. I caught 4 catfish, so I was happy. I was a happy camper. And my one little guy kept saying, Mom, you caught the fish because it was Mother's Day. So Mother's Day was pretty good, but, didn't really have any kind of huge celebration, no like big gifts or anything like that. Sometimes I feel like it is what it is. And some of my kids make it really big. I can tell my kids' love languages by which ones get the gifts. The ones that are like, I know that every single Mother's Day, every single thing, they're going to try to do something. Even if they're broke and they don't have the money, they're going to try to do something. And so I have 4 kids whose like primary love language, I think, is gift giving, or it's really high up there. So,
That's
so
a
they
good
all got
point.
me
Before
some
you
stuff.
finish, it just dawned on me, like sometimes we are expecting gifts from somebody
Uh-huh.
and their love language is not gifts. Now, if you understand the whole premise behind the 5 love languages,
Yeah.
if we're doing this correctly, you are supposed to show the love language that your spouse or say it's your child or whatever, that their love language is. We tend to
Yeah.
operate out of our love languages. And so let's say I'm definitely a gift giver. I like giving gifts and I like receiving
Mm-hmm.
gifts. But if that wasn't my love language, then the person that was expecting the gift would think that I should be giving them a gift. And I wouldn't even know to do that because that's not something that fuels me. That's
Yeah.
a very good point.
Yep.
So a lot of times, because really what we're going to talk about a lot here is the unmet expectations. That's the premise behind all of this really is when you are feeling unseen, unheard, and left out on Mother's Day or any holiday. We're talking about Mother's Day, but it could be your birthday. It could be Christmas. It could be an anniversary. If you're feeling left out and unappreciated, a lot of times it probably has a lot to do with whether the other person, your spouse or your children or your partner, or whatever, is operating from the right love language.
And
that's a very good point, Christina.
You're talking about that, and it's even making me think, because we have always got the choice, and I'm not gonna lie, I do that a lot of times, of kind of feeling sorry for myself and thinking, well, this person didn't give me anything, or this one didn't give me anything, and they must not have cared. I know better than that. First of all, I know if there was something that was happening with me or something that was really going down, like if I was in the hospital, my kids would all be there in a heartbeat. I know that. My husband, my family, everybody. I think though a lot of times the enemy uses those tactics to sneak in and say, oh, look at that, they don't even care. They don't care. They don't care nothing about you. You're not even a big deal. And we do that too. We partner with that a lot of time when he starts telling us that, and we get, oh, I feel so sorry for ourselves, and oh, we didn't get this, and we didn't. Oh, those moms that get these great gifts for Mother's Day, and man, I wish I had a family like that. And a lot of times too, it's the way that we've raised our kids. And I'm not saying that, like, I've always celebrated my kids, like as far as birthdays and stuff, but I have not been good at celebrating me. As far as my kids are concerned, I've never made a big deal about, oh, it's Mother's Day, what are you going to give me? Or, oh, it's my birthday. I mean, my kids have seen over the years me
This
not
is so good.
celebrating
That's
them.
another really good point. Like, you'll do that for your spouse. You'll
Yep.
get all the kids excited to go
Mhm.
because that's something you like to do. You
Yeah.
like to celebrate. You're the party planner. You're the one that puts on the
Yep.
events. So your kids see you celebrating other people, but we don't
But
do
not
that
me.
for ourselves. So they're not
Right.
seeing that. And I'm, honestly, it does feel weird to tell your kid to celebrate you. I actually did tell Gracie, make sure you tell Daddy to get something this year. So anyway,
I think I should have done that too.
I did. Well, she doesn't know. And because I didn't want her to be sad. Basically, that was it. Last year, she was very sad because there wasn't the celebration, and she cried because she was sad for me. And so I just wanted to make sure that this year it was about her getting to celebrate someone, because she loves holidays. She loves celebrating
important.
people.
That's
But that
important
was a
for us
good
to
point.
teach our
We don't
kids
actually
that.
celebrate ourselves, so our kids don't see that.
Yeah, because my kids will say, "Oh, what are you doing for your birthday?" And I'm like, I just had this conversation with one of my daughters today, because she brought me over this Mother's Day gift and all this, and she's like, I said something about, "Oh, that's the weekend of my birthday," and I was like, "Well, I won't be doing anything anyways." And they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, I don't ever do anything for my birthday. It's just another day. Well, I guess maybe we can have the argument, well, we shouldn't have to tell somebody to celebrate us. We shouldn't have to make a big deal about it. But if we're the ones spending most of the time with our kids, and our kids are seeing us not make it a big deal, they might honestly just think, oh, they don't even care. Mom doesn't care about stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Which honestly, that's not their fault. But then again, we've got the kids that are like, oh, I love gifts. This is the best thing ever. I know somebody loves me when they give me gifts. And so, if nobody else gets you anything, those kids are going to get you something, because that's what they love.
A lot of times it really has nothing to do with you, the person that is not doing the giving. It has to do with them. So a lot of times we'll think they must not care about us. Like you were saying, the enemy starts coming in and planting thoughts. You're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or they don't care about you. It really has more to do with how they see themselves. I know that most people don't recognize that, but it really is a reflection of how they see themselves. So if they're not celebrating themselves, they don't see themselves as worthy, sometimes that can be reflected in how we treat other people. If we don't make a big deal about ourselves, sometimes that can be reflected in how we treat other people.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes it can be almost
kids
annoying.
Do something
like,
or not, that doesn't mean
just
they
a birthday.
think you're a bad mom. They could just not have that skill.
Right.
Or
They could just be like, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's just another day.
Yeah. If they feel
and if
that
we've
way,
done that, then we've modeled that behavior. I've told my kids so many times, and I still tell them all the time, I'm like, you teach people how to treat you. You do. You teach people how to treat you. So if I've taught them over the years that, oh, it's just my birthday, it's not a big deal. Oh, don't make a big deal. And I've literally said, oh, it's not a big deal. Who cares? It's just my birthday. That's my fault, because I've taught them that it's not a big deal, that I'm not something to be celebrated. And I think a lot of times we do that. It's like a false humility, right? It's like that thing of like, I don't want anybody to make a big deal about me. But yet in the back of your head, you're like, man, I hope somebody celebrates me, and somebody does this, and nobody does, because we've told them over and over again, it's not a big deal. I don't need that. I don't want that. We've made a big deal about taking it the other direction instead of putting it out there. What we really would like, because we want them to think of it like, because we would, right? So we expect them to be like, oh, I would just do this because I'm so thoughtful and I love them so, because we think people think like us, right? I'm like, well, of course I would do that because I think of them and I love them, and who wouldn't do that? Well, everybody doesn't think the way we do. I guess, first of all, a lot of us coming out of Mother's Day have got to give grace for the people that love us to the people that love us, because maybe we do feel a little shortchanged by some of them. But ultimately, I think if we know that our people love us, and maybe that's not their love language, or maybe they didn't have the time or the money or whatever it looks like, I think we have got to keep in mind the most important part of all of this, and that is that we are never unseen. We're always seen by God. We're always seen by our Heavenly Father. He sees us. He loves us. And while we would love to be celebrated by everyone around us and those people around us that love us, sometimes it just doesn't look like that. And we can either have a pity party about that, or we can start planning for the next year. Hey, if you want gifts that bad, and if we're like, hey, we can either feel sorry for ourselves that we didn't get it, or we can start at the 1st of April and be like, hey, this is what I want for Mother's Day. Start sending it to all our kids. Send out our list to our husbands. Send out our list to our kids. Like, hey, what you get me for Mother's Day? This is what I want. We can just not be nonchalant about it. We can be like, matter of fact, this is what I would like to have. Go in with your siblings and buy this for me.
Yeah. So I don't know. Honestly, it's not biblical. Mother's Day isn't biblical, and half the holidays that we have, they really are Hallmark holidays. And that was something that my husband and I used to debate about. And I'm like, well, it's still something that is generally celebrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though it's not necessarily something that is biblical, it is still something like Valentine's Day falls into that category, or now they
Yeah.
got Sweetest Day and all that, which we don't celebrate, but we celebrate Valentine's Day. But I'm saying it doesn't matter whether it was a made up holiday. If it's something that you have a day that you can cherish and celebrate your loved one, I think that we
Yeah.
should do that. But again, if you're not somebody that likes that, or you're not somebody that does that, it could leave you with an unmet expectation. So I want
Right.
to pick
Right.
up from that point.
Yeah. And a lot of times in relationships, your spouse is not the same person as you are. So it might hurt their feelings if
In
you're
all
that kind of
relationships,
person
that's
that
the case.
right. Well, and you might be like, I might be like, oh, they don't care that much if I get them a gift. I'll just tell them I love them. I'm spending the day with them or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. And they're over there like, I can't believe they didn't get anything for me. So it's the different personality types can play a huge role in that. One thinks absolutely nothing of it. And they're just like, well, I spent the whole day with them. What's the big deal? I showed them how much I love it. And you're over there like, gosh, you didn't even get me a card or a flower or nothing for Mother's Day. I got nothing from you. I've been married for this many years. Or kids, I spent. So you know how hard you were as a child? You
Birthed
know
you
how much
out of my
trouble you gave?
body.
Well, yeah. Or you know how
You
much
can't
trouble
even
you
give me
gave
a
me?
card.
Right. So a lot of it can be just simply how we're perceiving it,
Yes.
and they might be totally clueless to it, just like there's
I
times
would
when we
have
are
to
totally
say,
clueless.
the percentage is very high that most people, husbands or children, really are not in any way trying to hurt you or trying to
Oh
ignore
yeah.
you. They, I hate to use the word clueless, but it kind of is the
They're
truth.
clueless.
They're just
Yeah,
not
they
really
just
thinking about the
yeah.
impact that it has on you. And that's where I believe that comes from our expectations that they should just know what we want. Like you said that.
Right.
But how should they know unless we tell them?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So this is a different
Exactly.
category than the person that is alone and they don't have anybody.
Yeah.
And they're, because in the special needs community, 87% of marriages end in divorce. In the special needs
Yeah.
community, there is a lot of single moms that are raising children. A lot of them are raising children with extreme needs.
Yep.
And there isn't anybody there supporting them or helping them. They don't have that support. So that's different than what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Where you just have an absent-minded spouse, or they, their
Right,
intentions
right.
were to do something and time got away from them. But either way, it still hurts if you think it's something that should be done for you. So this is where
Yeah.
it
Yep.
depends on how you were raised. So I was raised in a very big family and everything was celebrated. And my dad, I don't remember my mom not getting celebrated on birthdays or Christmases or Mother's Day. We always did something. And we celebrated everybody. So mothers were all celebrated. My grandmas, everybody were celebrated. But my husband was raised in a family of a single mom. And then she got married later when he was 15. But for most of his childhood, he was raised by a single mom. And I'm sure she wasn't saying, go buy me something for Mother's Day. You know what I mean? So he wasn't really thinking that he probably needed to do that. If it wasn't celebrated or made a big deal of, now you've got two families that come together and one thinks all holidays should be big deals. And another one's like, well, we never really celebrated
Yep.
that at all. Now you've got these expectations, but if they're not spoken, which most of the time we don't because we feel
Right.
embarrassed. We don't want to say, I want you to buy me a gift. I want you to
Right.
do these things. So we
Exactly.
just expect the other person to know. And when they don't know, then you get mad at them. And so whenever there's an unmet expectation, it's usually because there hasn't been an expectation spoken.
Yeah.
We just assume the other person to just know. And well, they don't just know, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that my spouse expects me to know that I don't know. And I would appreciate
Right.
if you would tell me, or
Right.
even my kids. So let's go back to our kids. There may be things that I have not done that they feel deeply wounded by, and I didn't even know that bothered them.
Right. Yes.
And they're holding on to this, which ends up causing the spirit of rejection to come in. The orphan spirit comes in because you think your parents don't love you, your mom doesn't love you, they never
Yeah.
did this for me. And so I think a lot of this can be healed first
Yeah.
by acknowledging where that hurt is. But also this past year, we celebrated 25 years. One of the things that I wrote about, and also the best gift I gave my husband, was letting him off the hook of having to be everything for me, having to
Yeah.
be there to celebrate me and do all this. Now, whether he does that or not, that's a bonus, but to expect him to be the person that fulfills all my needs, that whole statement, like the Jerry Maguire, you complete me. No, God completes
Yeah.
me.
Right.
And then,
Amen.
he brought us together to be
Yes.
one, but I don't get my validation from my spouse. I don't get my validation from my children. I get it from
Yeah.
God and God alone. The rest of it is a bonus. The rest of
Yes.
it helps
It
to
feels
fulfill.
good.
It feels good. It
Yes.
fulfills on my life. But if we put our hope, our trust, our identity in a human being, we will always be left unfulfilled and unsatisfied
Wanting. Yeah.
because that's not their job. So you're putting
Right.
this heavy
Yeah.
weight on them to fulfill you, to make you happy, to buy you the cards, all the
Yep.
gifts, all that. And that was never meant for them to do. And somebody might not agree with this statement, but I'm just telling you, in my own life, because I was one of those people that had very high expectations, because I was raised where we did celebrate. And when those were not met, I was crushed.
Yeah.
And so me being upset didn't change the situation. It only made it worse. Even if there was an argument about it, it made it worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
there was only freedom when I let that go. And then when I did let that go, it actually gave him the freedom to do the thing that he wanted to do all along. Now he wasn't doing it
Yeah.
because I expected it. Now he was doing it because he really wanted to do that.
Right.
But he
Right.
also has the choice to not do it if he doesn't
Right.
want to. And I
Right.
don't need to be
Well,
upset by that.
you know, I mean, and ultimately, do we want people to get us gifts because they love us and they thought of us? Or do we want to bully them into that, like,
Yeah.
and try to guilt trip them? I mean, how good does it feel to get a gift if you've kind of bullied somebody into it and
I think that's it.
made them
At least
feel,
for my
yeah.
spouse, it's the spirit of rebellion. It's like, don't tell me
Yeah.
to do it. I will do it because I want to. I don't want to be forced to do something because somebody made up some holiday
Yeah.
and put a card on it.
Right. I mean, everybody has definitely got their own. But you know, when you get down to it, you know, there is a little bit of pride, I feel like, on our end of it.
I was totally
And
going to
on
say
the
that.
end where we're like, I deserve
Yeah.
for you to think of me like this because
That's so good.
I've spent so many nights and so many days and so much of my life doing all of this for you. I have laid down my life, and we don't necessarily look at all our parents as that, but we expect our kids to look at us as that. We can say, oh yeah, my parents raised me. Yeah, they did the best they could or whatever. But we don't look at them in all of these ways that we're expecting our kids to look at us in. It's kind of unrealistic if we're being honest. I love my mom. I love my dad. I appreciate them. But none of us usually have the outlook of, oh, they were my saviors. They did such an amazing job. Even if your parents did do a good job, those are your parents. It's just like, that's what they do. They're my parents. They raised me. That's what they're supposed to do. That's their job. But we somehow expect our kids to have a little bit different, you know, outlook on
Yeah.
it. Like, oh, I
That's
love
so
my
good.
mom so much. She's such an amazing mom. I've got to get this for her. I've got to do this for her. She deserves this. And, you know, I got my mom stuff for Mother's Day because I loved her and because I thought about her. But it wasn't that kind of an outlook that I was having on it. Yeah, she was a good mom, but I wasn't looking at it like I think how sometimes we expect our kids to look at us. It's not realistic. I mean, ideally, who wouldn't want their kids to look at them like they were just the best mom ever? But I don't think that's realistic either, or even fair to expect out of our kids, because our kids are kids and they're human, just like we are. And some of
I
us
do
had
think that
amazing
sometimes
parents.
in society we can make such a big deal out of it. And
Yes.
that's where that is like, you owe me this.
Yes.
And so I think there actually could be some harm in that. And so at church yesterday, our pastor was talking about, like, they don't do a really big deal for the holidays for either Father's Day or Mother's Day. And it's not because they don't want to celebrate. So they acknowledged everybody, but it's because they want to be sensitive to the people that might be grieving that day. Maybe there was a mom that lost a child. Maybe they lost their mother and they were wishing that person was there. Maybe there's somebody that can't have children and they're grieving that they want so desperately to be a mom, and here everybody's being celebrated. So I thought that was very kind in the way they handled that. I've been at churches where every mom gets a rose or a flower. They're very celebrative. They'll do this presentation. And then you got moms in there that might have just had a miscarriage. You know what I mean? And so we've got to be mindful of where everybody might be at in that situation. So here's the things that I feel like we've learned in this so far in our conversation. I've actually learned a lot from just what you were saying, is that we don't know what someone's love language is. We can expect them to be giving us gifts, but maybe that's not how they feel fulfilled or seen or heard. Maybe theirs is words of affirmation. Maybe it's just quality time.
Yeah.
You know, so my husband is definitely quality time. He likes spending time together, not a gift person at all. He's one of those people that will go buy
I think all men are like this, Dina.
He goes and buys himself gifts. Like, I don't, there's nothing to get him because he just buys everything. My dad used to be the same way. my mom would be like, I don't know what to get him because every Christmas and birthday he's out there shopping for himself. And it's like, okay,
Right.
stop
He
buying
gets what
that
he
stuff.
wants.
I know. So he's not
Yeah.
a gift person because that is not something that he really cares whether somebody gets him a
Yes.
gift or not. He's more of a quality time, like this hangout. That's
Yep.
how he would choose to
Yep.
do that.
Same.
So it's about, how the other person responds. And again, we should be doing that. Honestly, we should be serving or loving our spouse and even our children the way they want to receive it if we're doing this
Yes.
correctly. The other thing is letting go of the expectations of it should be a certain way.
Right.
Because
Right.
I think, honestly, all the moms that did get left out during Mother's Day probably wouldn't have felt left out if there wasn't such a big deal made
Yep.
about Mother's Day and all that. Okay.
Yes.
I do
I
think
agree.
birthdays are something that everybody has, whether you're a mom or
Right.
not.
Right.
Those should be celebrated. Things like Christmas, where it's kind of a national world holiday, that kind of thing. We should do that. But a lot of these other holidays, sometimes we do feel like resentful, and then we get
Yeah.
upset because we weren't celebrated. But those are all the things that we can change the narrative on this. And remembering, like you said, we are never, ever alone. And so for all the moms out there that did have a holiday without somebody celebrating them, God
Yes.
celebrates you.
Yeah.
You are not
Yes.
alone. You are his beloved.
You are
his
seen.
beloved
Absolutely. Yes.
daughter. You are seen. You are known. You are intimately connected to him. He collects every
Yes.
tear in a bottle. You might have had the worst Mother's Day dealing with a meltdown with a child that has a behavior issue or nonverbal, or as Christina was dealing with diarrhea messes and 4 kids
Yes.
throwing up,
Bad.
like it's not a Hallmark holiday, but that
Right.
doesn't mean that your sacred calling, the sacred gift of motherhood, is not still special.
Right.
And then you have the moms like, what if because Christina is a foster mom and an adoptive mom, so she understands this from the perspective of the
Yeah.
mom that lost the child. She
Mhm.
sees every time she takes one of these children to the visit where the mom is trying to get the child back and doing everything. And sometimes they do. Most of the time that the children, I would say, probably don't go back because it's a very unhealthy
Yeah.
situation. But that mom is still grieving the loss of that child.
Yeah.
And she's still
Absolutely.
dealing with the regret of a decision or a choice that she made or a lifestyle that she can't undo.
Yeah.
Especially if parental rights have been taken away. So Mother's Day is not a good holiday for those moms.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we've got to be mindful. Like, we could sit here and be all upset because our spouse or our kids didn't give us flowers or cards, and we haven't even really understood what it's like to walk in the shoes of somebody else. And I don't necessarily think
Right.
we have to always know how everybody's situation is, but just know that there's people out there that do understand.
Yes.
There's people out
Yeah.
there that get that. So there's people out there like you. I've never lost a child, but Christina has. So if there was another mom that was dealing with the loss of grieving a child for Mother's Day, you get it. You
Yeah.
understand that. And so there's people out there in a community of moms that are out there. So I would like to change the narrative on Mother's Day and say, we don't have to, first of all, we don't have to let the enemy have power anymore. So if you
Right.
have had years and years where you weren't celebrated and you felt neglected or rejected or whatever that is, you can cancel that right now in the name of Jesus and not continue
Yes.
to keep carrying that. You can choose to take that power back and say, nobody tells me that I am unseen or unheard because I am chosen by
Yeah.
God. So it's the enemy that gets in and tries to wreak havoc in your mindset. And you could say, now, not anymore am I going to do that. And we can actually speak our expectations. If you truly are one that really wants a gift and it means a lot to you, then just ask for it. State what it
Right.
is.
Right.
Or maybe you are like Christina, like, I don't really care whether you get me anything. Just let me go fishing. You know what I mean? And that's okay too.
Hey, I had my eye on a chair, this amazing rocking chair, and I was really hoping that either my husband or my son would go back in and grab it when I wasn't looking, and they didn't. They didn't. They
Go
just
buy
left
it
me and my
yourself.
other. I know, right? I was like, darn it.
Yeah.
I think everybody, even if they don't want to say it, would like to be recognized. But we have got to stop making it so much of a big deal if we're not, and just letting the enemy beat us up with that, like, oh, they didn't care that, and put a bunch of stuff that's not even true in our head. And I think
Right.
that's so much of it is we get all wrapped up in the feeling sorry for us and the pity party side of it. And, oh, all those other moms, oh, all the stuff that they got, we got nothing, and whatever.
Yeah.
We can choose to leave it for what it is. Or like you said, if it's a really big deal and we really want something, we've got a voice in our home. We all of us moms do. And if we want it to be heard, we make it heard. Maybe we don't feel like we should have to do that, but hey, if you got a family that's clueless, make your voice heard.
Don't wait for them.
Right.
We're celebrating all month for mothers. That's what we're doing.
There you go.
It's my birthday month. We're celebrating. Some people actually do that. I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
Some people do.
Yeah. I don't even get a birthday day, so let alone a month. I mean,
yeah,
whatever.
So honestly, that, the reality of that is, and I'm not saying, again, I don't ever want to minimize the role of a father or the responsibility, the burden a lot of them have. If you're a single income family like we are, my husband has the incredible burden of providing for our family. And I stay at home with our child, and I did for all of our other children. I stayed at home with them and homeschooled them, but he still had to provide for our family. So he didn't get a choice to do what I did. He didn't have the freedom, and he still doesn't have that kind of freedom. But the majority of the responsibilities of the household and the children do lie usually with the mom. Now, I know we live in a world where there's a lot of different ways and things like that. I'm just talking about my story and Christina's story, where we're stay-at-home moms. We have the brunt of that. And that doesn't stop on Mother's Day. Kids throwing up does not stop on Mother's Day. If you have a special needs child that is having a behavior issue, that doesn't stop on Mother's Day. Now, you might have a supportive family around you that can say, I got it, you go take a nap. But maybe you don't. You know what I'm saying? And in my life, that's just not how it goes. I'm dealing with the meltdowns and the poopy messes and the still cleaning up the house and still making dinner and still doing all that stuff. And it is okay. I don't have to make it mean anything. Most of what we do is we create the story around it that there's something wrong with that, because there's one day out of the year that we should not have to do that. And I just think that that's an unrealistic expectation to have, because again, maybe somebody's just not able to honor that, but that does not mean that you are not valuable and worthy and seen. So you choose. So you said you choose to teach people how to treat you. A lot of that is how we treat ourselves as well. Like you were saying that if I'm walking around like I'm a victim, if I'm walking around like I'm a bad mom, or even being angry because how dare they forget me, then I am showing that I am unworthy, instead of standing with confidence and knowing that I am a good mom. I am a very good mom, and I'm
knowing
a very
your
good
self-worth.
wife.
Who you are. Right.
That's how you carry yourself. And honestly, that's more attractive than somebody that's complaining and being negative. And I had to learn that the hard way. Like, honestly, I'm telling you this from my own experience, because I was the one that carried around this big, heavy weight, like, poor me, I was forgotten. And then why would anybody want to celebrate something like that if you're constantly complaining or making the other first person feel bad because they did forget something? And again, we created a story that you forgot because you don't love me. Well, maybe they just forgot because they were busy. I don't even know what it is, but we put a lot of this, heavy burdens on somebody that they don't need to carry. And that really, that role is for God to give you value and worth, not really your spouse or your kids or your other family members. But those moms that are in a toxic situation or a painful situation, we're not talking about that. We never want to minimize that. We don't want to make you feel like we're not including you. There's so many categories of moms, and we just want you to know that we get it. We see you. We care. There are people there. I would like to create a movement where moms are just celebrating moms, and maybe make Mother's Day something that is a big deal in our community of special needs moms. And we create the event. We don't need anybody else to do it for us. We create a big yearly event, whether it's a conference or I'd like to go on a cruise, honestly.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Cruise. Now, it doesn't have to be on Mother's Day. I'm just saying, why don't we just do it for
why
ourselves?
Not? Shoot, let's do that.
Since we're the ones that are the party planners and we're good at doing this for other people, why not do this for each other in our community? So anyway, I'm choosing to create a new narrative around Mother's Day. It doesn't have to be about me. It doesn't have to be what I think I deserve. I really do enjoy celebrating other people. So I just want to, I don't know, I just really felt this on my heart. That's why we did this episode and decided to hold off 1 week on the part 2 of the fear episode, because I just feel like everything that I read and saw on Facebook and different social media things, it just hurt my heart that there were so many moms out there that were sad. A lot were complaining about their spouses, and just, it made me sad that we live in a world with such high expectations because somebody created a holiday. And again, it's not bad that they did it. I think it's good that somebody created something that was supposed to be good. We don't have to do away with it, but I do think that there is a way each person can celebrate it in their own way. And if you are solid in who you are and you know your identity and you know that you're rooted in God, it really doesn't matter what anybody else does or doesn't
Right.
do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So anyway, that's really just what I wanted to leave everybody with. I hope that you all had a great Mother's Day. If you didn't, it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. We if you're sitting here listening, then you're here another day. God gave you the breath in your lungs, and he's going to partner with you, and he's going to give you the ability and the strength to continue to be that parent that he's called you to do, especially like in our situation where it can be complex or extreme. And so we honor you. We as moms in the trenches right along with you, we honor you, we love you, and we got a lot more coming in this tribe of the junk drawer mamas that we're doing. So anyway.
Oh yeah.
Any closing thoughts, my beautiful co-host?
My birthday is this month, and I guess maybe
she's
I should
asking
just...
all of you. Send cards, gifts.
I'm thinking I better tell my kids what I want if I
yes.
No, but honestly, if we want to be celebrated, then especially with our kids, we need to raise them knowing that we want to be celebrated, or that we feel that we're important enough to be celebrated on those days, and not say, oh, I'm just mom, I'm not a big deal, and then expect somebody to feel differently about us. If that's the way we're raising our kids, we can't expect them to know or do anything different. Right. So if you're like me, and that's the way you kind of always just downplayed your importance in being celebrated throughout the years, then we get to be upset if we don't get celebrated. If you want celebrated, then change it and make sure your kids know that you do want to be celebrated, and that it is a big deal, and that you are worthy of being celebrated, that you're worth being celebrated, or that you like to be celebrated, whatever that looks like for you. If not, keep your mouth closed and just
or take yourself out.
Not have right
take
and just not have an issue with it when you get nothing. So yeah.
Sorry for all the
right.
all the coughing. I'm still dealing with whatever this plague is in my lungs. So I apologize for all the extra noise.
Yeah.
See, we're still moms that show up whether we're sick or not. Christina's got half her household is sick right now, and she put them to bed. So we're recording at night this time because
I don't think
there's just no time in the day where there wasn't
banging around.
Yeah. So anyway, that's part of what we love about this, is that we're just real coughing and growing up all in the same time.
Right.
Anyway.
Yes.
We just thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for letting us kind of go off script a little bit. And we know Mother's Day has passed, but I just want you to celebrate yourselves every day, because I just believe that we are rock star mamas. I really do.
Yep. Yes.
So anyway, we love you. We can't wait to get together next time. We will see you on the next episode, part 2 of the Fear episode. The next time on the Junk Drawer Mamas. Have an awesome week. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us and listening to the Junk Drawer Mamas podcast. If today's episode encouraged you, share it with a mom who could use a little extra love and support. We'd love to hear from you too. Leave us a review and let us know what you think, or send us your ideas for what you want us to tackle in the junk drawer. You can email us anytime at junkdrawermamas@gmail.com. Stay connected with us on social media. Follow Dina at Specially Empowered Moms and Christina at Faith Through Foster Care for more encouragement and updates on our upcoming books. From two mamas in the throes of extreme parenting, we want you to know that you're doing a great job, mama, and you don't have to have it all together. But what's hidden can't be healed, so let's keep sorting through it together, one step, one story, and one laugh at a time. See you next time when we tackle another item in the junk drawer of life. Have an awesome week.